Okay, so I'm gonna start in just a minute or two. I actually had intentions of so actually this set of slides was an entirely different set of slides when I was doing it last week, and I think the previous set of slides was actually a little bit, I think, less useful. It's a bit more marketing in nature, the previous set of slides. And I discarded almost all of the marketing elements and decided to just focus on what is useful, what is actually useful, right, to succeed at the A levels. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. If you have friends who think that might need this, right, feel free to share with them the link. Okay, we're going to actually put this video up as well on YouTube and as well as on various platforms once this lesson is done. Okay, so the lesson is called 5 Key Strategies to Excel at the A levels. I'm going to start. Hey, let's start first with why you might be here today, okay, on a nice Saturday afternoon to attend this webinar on the key strategies to excel and succeed at the A levels. Okay, so there are a few reasons that I think that why you might end up being here today, right? You could maybe perhaps be feeling anxious. Hey, from those of you who are here today, how many of you you feel some anxiety towards like your A level preparation? Like you're constantly like feeling anxious. Anyone? Like you're worried about the future, you're worried about how things would be. Okay, no one's anxious. Anyone feeling that you lack discipline? How many of you feel like, or you don't have like really motivation? You're not really having any motivation to study. Okay, if you do feel this way, feel free to express yourself by using the raise hand function. Anybody feeling that you lack discipline? So probably it's not the right question to ask. If you're here on a Saturday afternoon to do this, you probably are keen and are driven to succeed at the A levels. Okay, then perhaps you happen to belong on the group that you don't have really any concrete revision plans. How many of you have, you have some idea of what you want to do for revision, but that idea is not like formulated in a concrete kind of plan, like a week by week breakdown, a day by day breakdown. Like you don't have a revision plan right now. There is a structured concrete revision plan that is a day by day, week by week breakdown. Hands up. If you don't have a revision plan, a concrete revision plan, can I show of hands? One. Anybody else other than the one? Two? Hey, two don't really have concrete revision plans, right? How many of you have some idea of how you want to revise, but you're not really sure whether you're on the right track? Hey, maybe you're not sure whether you're on the right track, perhaps because the results haven't been showing. Like, you tried to revise, but those results don't seem to show in your exams. Anybody? Okay, so today what I'm going to try to do is try to address all of these feelings that you might have about the A-level exams and try to help to deal with some anxieties that you have. Okay, so I'm going to talk about I'll give you a brief introduction to myself because I think it's important when you listen to someone talk, you should actually question, hey, why should I listen to you talk? Like, who are you? Why should I listen to you? Okay, I have 3 degrees. 2 of my degrees are in economics. I am a graduate of both NUS and SMU. I did my bachelor's at NUS and my master's degree in SMU, and I have another separate master's degree. I am also the TYS author for an A-level econs TYS answers. There are 2 econs A-level TYS answers out there. 2 authors out there. One of it is me, and the other one is my friend. I have also authored various guidebooks and textbooks over the years. Can you pass me the textbooks there? So I've guided 3,000 plus students over the last 18 years. So I understand the exams really well. So just to show you the textbooks that we have. Sorry, I'm just sharing my screen so that I can show you our textbooks. So these are actually our textbooks that we've authored. So volume 1, volume 2, 3, so on and so forth, right? So these are the textbooks that our students get, right? We have all these textbooks that are issued over the 2-year time frame that you are with us. And then these are only part of it. So I'm not going to show you all of it. I'm just going to show you some of it. Right. So we have actually plenty of resources that we issue to our students. The stuff that I show you today is actually just a small fraction of whatever that we give to our students. Okay, let me get back to the slides. Okay, so the key thing you need to understand is that I understand exams really well. And so I'm here to offer you some advice on what you can do. Last week, actually, I held a webinar. And this webinar is called 5 Factors That Determine Your Grades at the A levels. And the 5 factors that we talked about last week is who is yourself, your teacher in school, resources that you have access to, which is basically a school department, any external help that you might have, and luck. So I said that there were 5 factors. Okay. And today we are going to focus on what we call the 5 key strategies to doing well at the A levels. Okay. So the 5 key strategies, they are motivation, planning, effectiveness in content understanding, exposure, and excellence. Okay, so let's go on. You start first with motivation. Okay, so motivation is actually a key thing to doing well at the exams, actually for any exams at all. So why do I say this? So I actually don't just run and manage an econ tuition center. I run and manage a math tuition center, a GP tuition center. I'm not the main person for this math tuition center or this GP tuition center, right? I'm not the main tutors there. Obviously, I don't teach math, I don't teach GP, but I help to manage. So I see a lot of students come in every year. I see a lot of parents. We talk to a lot of parents every year. And one of the key things that there is a key reason to why students don't do well for exams, right? Is actually motivation. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about motivation. So what is motivation? So if you're a person who has the motivation, right, what you should be feeling, right, is that actually every day you wake up, right, you have the desire to study. Like you do feel like every day you wake up, right, the first thing that comes to your mind is that, oh, you know what, other than going to school, so the first thing you wake up is maybe say on a weekend is that, hey, I'm waking up and I'm actually excited to go and study. So do you actually wake up with this desire to study, or you wake up and then every time you need to study, you feel like, wow, I'm damn sian, I don't feel like studying? Okay, the second thing is that which is kind of a tracker of motivation as well, is that do you find that after you study the content already, you look beyond the content that is inside the textbook. You want to find more information. So when you're reading up something or you're trying to solve a question, you look beyond the content that's given to you. You want to know more information than what is given to you because you want to excel in the subject. Okay, so I've had experience both as a student and as a tutor, and I find that over my time span of learning as a student and also during my experience throughout my experience as a teacher, is that if a student, right, has motivation, right, these are the kind of things that they will do. These are the kind of things that they will experience. They will find that they have the desire to study. They wake up and then I want to study. And they'll find that when I'm studying this specific topic, I don't just look at the content that's given to me. I look beyond the resources that I have and find additional resources to do well in that specific topic. So if you have motivation, then that is what a motivated person should be looking like. Okay, why do you need to have the motivation though? Why is motivation so important? So motivation is important because when you're motivated, right, you'll be more self-driven, right? If you have the motivation, you'll do what it takes to get there. And I thought maybe I'll share with you my experience as a JC student and how actually I got that spark as a JC student to actually succeed at my A levels. In JC1, right, the kind of student that I was, right, I wasn't a great student. I think I was a fairly crappy student. Like what did I do in class? I either slept in class. I remember there was this absurd situation whereby my math teacher was teaching in class, and what did I do? I bought a bowl of noodles, soup noodles in, and I was like eating and enjoying my soup noodles in class, and I was ignoring whatever the math teacher was doing. I wasn't very motivated. I flunked my math in JC1. I did well in econs. I did okay for geography, and I flunked my math in JC1. So I was like, I wasn't a bad student. I was an okay student, but I wasn't motivated at all. I wouldn't do anything extra to get there, and I was okay with flunking my math. That was in JC1. When I reached JC2, right, sometime February or March, I attended a teacher's wedding who was, for some reason, this teacher held the wedding at NUS. And when I visited campus, and I'm like, hey, actually, this seems to be a fine place to be in. And I figured that actually what I wanted to really do, right, was that I was interested in econs as a subject. And I thought that the NUS campus was really nice. Maybe you could go and visit some campuses and take a look. The NUS campus was really nice. And I told myself that, hey, back then, back then when I was in JC, I was in the worst class. The whole school, I was in the worst class. I wasn't in the top JC, I was in neighborhood JC. I was in neighborhood JC, I was in the worst class, right? And not only I was in the worst class, our teachers were telling us that we were the worst class. And they're telling us that with the L1 R5 that we got, we should be, hey, it was a very depressing moment. There was a very depressing moment. I remember my CT coming to us and telling us that, hey, this is your L1 R5. So if you got triple C, you will be value adding to the school. I was like, I was looking at triple C. What can you do with triple C? Apparently, not that much. We will get into the top 3 local universities, but you have been very restricted courses. Like you'll be restricted to things like engineering courses or like literature or like physics. There wasn't much you could do, or you could be a school teacher, right? NIE was quite easy to get in back then. So at that point, it was what lit this spark in me, and I became a little bit more motivated, a bit more self-driven. What did I do? I did beyond what an ordinary student would have done. I actually organized my entire class into a study group. I asked all my friends, hey, we are all in the lousiest class. Do you all like want to form a study group? Like you specialize in this, you specialize in this, then we all teach each other. Then we all go and find teachers for consults. We go and schedule extra lessons with our teachers. Ask teacher, hey, can you teach us this concept again? Like we organize, if we are large group enough, it's very hard for teachers to say no. So like the whole class, maybe 2/3 of the class actually participated. I organized this entire thing. And then I realized that I was very driven. I was very motivated and I did everything I could. I am exactly what I said these things were. These are all from my own personal experience. When I woke up, books were surrounding me. There were books on my bed, there were books on my table. And the moment I woke up, if it was not a school day, I will be studying. Right. And then I will find myself that when and I shared this just last week. When you know what I finished, what I did, I finished the TYS, the Econs TYS. Do you know what happened when I finished the Econs TYS? I went to Bras Basah Complex. I bought the TYS for the 10 years before. I finished not 10 year series, I finished 20-year series. Right. So if you did that, then you're obviously motivated. So that's number one. Number two is that if you're motivated, you start doing well. And when you start doing well, learning becomes more fun. And when it becomes fun, it becomes easier. And this is something that we observe across students that come to our tuition centers. Third, is that I'm sure many of you come from schools whereby there are certain things that HBL. HBL means there are some schools that say, hey, this topic, you all learn everything on HBL. There's certain schools that everything is by HBL, is by recorded lectures. What if you are a student that's not so motivated? You're going to just ignore these recorded lectures. And then what do you do after school? If you're motivated, then after school, you'll probably be studying. If you're not motivated, I tell you what after school we did as a J1 student. After school, we went to play pool. I don't know whether pool is still a popular thing for you to do. After school, we went to hang out. After school, we went to watch movies. After school, we went dating. Like we were dating people. After school, we hang out with our friends, had barbecues, went swimming. This is what we did in J1 and CCAs, busy with CCAs. If you're motivated, right, you will know that there's a very clear objective in mind. This is not the thing that you'll be doing. Okay, so how can I try to urge you to be motivated? The answer is I really can't urge you to be motivated in a 1 hour plus session. I can't. I just can't make you motivated in 1 hour session. But I'll try. Even though I can't, but I will try. I'll just give you a very simple rundown, all right? How important this is to you. Okay, and this is the answer to how to be motivated. Just think of it logically. At this point, right, how many years of education have you gone through? Most of you went through 3 years of preschool, which is kindergarten and nursery, 6 years of primary school education, 4 years of secondary school, 1 or 2 years of pre-U, which is your JC. Hey, 3 plus 6, 9. 9 plus 4, 13. 13 plus, if you are J1, then it's just 13. If you're J2, then another 1 more year. You have set for 2 milestone exams. You have set for PSLE and O levels. Actually, is it okay to fail your PSLE or don't do well for PSLE? It's possible to do well in life without doing well for PSLE. There's plenty of chances for you to self-correct. If you didn't do well for O levels, this is actually also okay. But if you didn't do well for A levels, right, it's going to be very tough for you to get to a good university. And like the final deciding factor to your future career is usually your university course. So the A level exams is actually by far the most important exam that you're going to face. And university, right, is not that bad because university, right, is modular basis. If you flunk a module, you know what you're gonna do. Just redo the module or do some other modules. The failure at the university level is not crazy. But A levels, right, is usually the final deciding factor. So if you understand this, then it's easier for you to get motivated. Okay. So I'm stealing this from my ex-vice principal. This exact phrase left a deep impression in me when I was working when I was a student. He went through these slides, and then later on, I met him. He was still using these slides. This is what he said. He said that what you did in the next 5 to 7 months, right? Why? But I modified a little bit. The number I modified a little bit. What you did do in the next 5 to 7 months? Why 5 to 7 months? 5 if you are a lady. If you are a man, 7 months, because later on, it translates to this lah. So because for guys, right, you go to NS, right? So it's 7 years. So it's 2 years plus 5 years of university, right? Then why 5 years? Because some of you might want to do a 1 year master's degree, or you might do an honors degree, or you might have like a gap year to do internship. That's why it's 7 years. And then for the guys it's 7 years, for the girls it's 5 years, right? So the 5 to 7 years, right, then subsequently determine the next 50 to 70 years of your life. 50 to 70 because different people have different life expectancy. So 50 to 70. So this is therefore important because what you're going to be doing in the next 5 to 7 months is an investment for you to determine your next 5 to 7 years, which is an investment to determine the 50 to 70 years of your life. Okay, so this quote, not my quote, is my ex-vice principal, my JC vice principal's quote. I'm stealing his quote to share with you because I think it's a very, very good quote. Okay, let's start first with now the second item, which is planning. So firstly, do all of you have a plan? Right. Do you have like a granular plan to what you should be doing? Okay. So let me teach you a thing or two about planning. So I will run through with you. I don't take the IPPT anymore. So I haven't served NS cycles for a while. So I haven't done IPT. I broke my wrist. One of the year I broke my wrist, and then after that I got downgraded, and I never had to do IPPT after that. So but back then when I was still taking the IPPT, by the way, if you wonder what's IPPT, IPPT is the equivalent of NAFA, but is for guys who need to serve NS or serve reservists. Hey, so it's quite embarrassing, but after NS I became super not fit. So once I finished NS, right, I stopped exercising and became super not fit. And then what's depressing, right, is that if you are super not fit and then you cannot pass your IPPT, then they make you do this thing called remedial training. Remedial training is very painful because it's like 20, 30 sessions a year. So like every week you got to go down and do this fitness training session with a physical training instructor at some camp. So to me, that was very painful. So I one day I said, I don't want to go for this remedial training anymore. I want to pass my IPPT. So how did I go about passing my IPPT? It was a very simple thing. So I told myself that hey, everything has got to be progressive. And I've got 1 year before I need to take my next IPPT. So what am I going to do? So I'm going to start slow. So one round around my estate, right, is about 800 meters. One round around my estate is about 800 meters. So I told myself, hey, I'm going to run one round around my estate. Hey, one round around my estate, 800 meters. I take my watch, I started timing. So the first week I run, so I started running daily. No, I don't skip. I never skip my runs. I run daily. 800 meters, very fast one. 800 meters is like 5 minutes finish ready one. So I run 800 meters, run 800 meters. Then I told myself, the first week, right, I'll run 800 meters. But 800 meters, right, I try to run a bit faster every day. So at 800 meters today, then tomorrow I run 5 seconds faster. Then the next time I run 5 seconds faster. So I try to improve by 5 seconds every day. Then you know what happened next week? Next week I run 900 meters. Then you know what happened next week? Next week I run 1 kilometers. Then what happened next week? I run 1.1 kilometers. Then soon, right, after a few months, right, I realized that, hey, I'm hitting 2.4 already. Then you know what happened after I hit 2.4? I realized that, hey, 2.4 no kick already. I can go up to 3. Well, of course, I'm the kind of person also that I exceed a bit already, right? I stop now because like no point, man. Like no returns on investment. So I stopped at 3 kilometers. So I never go beyond 3 kilometers. But then I realized that hey, I was passing IPPT, and not only I was passing IPPT, I was becoming fitter. Do you realize that this plan is a ridiculously simple plan? But this ridiculously simple plan was also very comprehensive. So come up with a plan that is simple in terms of that, it's definitely can follow one. It's impossible to not be able to follow it. It's like a very simple plan. So my 2.4 kilometer, how to pass, right? That was a simple plan to me, right? So find a very simple plan, right? That is also comprehensive at the same time that you know that it will eventually get you there, right? Then you also look at, is your plan an effective plan? Right. So your plan, to look at it whether it's an effective plan, you got to actually examine like the different aspects of effective plan. I will just tell you that, okay, you're doing this for the first time, probably like planning for starting for A levels. I've done this myself once. I brought 18 batches of students now through this. I've also taken many exams in my life. I have 3 degrees. I've taken many exams. I didn't just do 3 degrees. I did some additional other certification for fun, like real estate agent, the salesperson license. I have it, but it's for fun. I don't actually transact. I don't actually sell properties. Right. So I've taken many exams myself, right? And I'm going to teach you how to plan. Okay. Now, the other thing about planning, before I teach you how to plan, the other thing about planning is that if you plan, right, but you're the kind of person that cannot commit, right, or for some reason, right, after you plan ready, you find it difficult for you to commit, right, then planning is no use now. So you're gonna make sure you come up with a plan that you can commit to. So one tip, right, that I will share with you that was something that I did during A levels, right, is that I found buddies. I found buddies to commit to similar plans. Right, and I was a bit strategic about the buddies that I got. So I found one that was good in math. I found one that was good in geography, and I myself was good in economics. And then what we did was that we supported each other in the subjects that we were strong in, and for the subjects that were weak in, we consulted the people who were stronger in the subject. Okay, so now I will show you how to plan. If you can take a look at this, you can key in this on your own personal devices. You can key in this URL. I'll type it for you. Okay, then I'm going to open up my screen now to this screen so that you can see how we're going to plan. Okay, so let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, the date today is 15 February 2025 as of now, or me when I'm doing this video. Okay, when I'm doing this live stream. This session today is actually meant to be watched as a video by my students. I'm going to send this to all my students to watch. And that's why I put the date as 1st April 2025. Why I put the date as 1st April 2025? Because I think most of you won't be serious enough to start today. If you can start today, fantastic. But if you can start today, then I expect that this is time period, a bit after some time after you receive your first common test or first weighted assessment result, you might get serious and this might be a date you start. So I'm being realistic here by putting 1st April 2025. So if you put 1st April 2025, right? Why the date here is 3rd November 2025? By the way, the A-level timetable for 2025 is already out. GP paper is on 3rd November 2025. So as of 1st April 2025, it will be 216 days to 3rd November 2025. Okay? It's up to you how many buffer days that you want to set. Okay, so you decide for yourself how many buffer days you want. So I'll recommend 2 weeks as a buffer period. 2 weeks buffer period means to say that you're not doing very hardcore new kind of studying, right? 14 days before the A levels itself. When 14 days to A levels, you'll be doing recap, you'll be like looking through the stuff that you have prepared. Okay, so but it's up to you. So if you do that, then you will leave yourself with 202 days for revision. For most of you, you have 3 H2 subjects and you have 2 H1 subject. I'm going to give you with simple math. All right, I'll give you some simple math. H1 subject you take as a half count. Okay, so each H1 subject is a half count. Half count means half the effort and half the time you spend on H2 subject. Okay, we put it this way. So H1 subject, 2 H1 subject. So your effective subject count, 3 H2 subject plus 2 H1 subject with half count each, 4 subject count. Okay, 4 subject count means that number of days available for revision per subject if you started on 1st April and you give yourself a 14-day buffer, is that you're going to have 50.5 days for revision per subject. Okay, what is the proportion that I would advise you to spend on understanding content is 25% of all your revision time. How much time should you spend on effective practice is 75% of your total revision time. So in the end, right, this is the number of days you have to spend on content understanding for any H2 subject. And this is the number of days that you have to spend on any H2 subject for practice and so on and so forth for H1 subjects. Okay, once you look at these numbers, right, Okay, I'm going to show you the next thing. Okay, now what I want you to do, right, is that you should download all of your subjects. So let's say if the 4 subjects that you have is PCME and general paper, I want you to download the syllabus. For GP, you don't really have a topical syllabus, so you got to kind of look at your school textbooks. Right, the rest of the other subjects, you have a syllabus. Okay, I want you to look at your syllabus, and then after that, I want you to break down. Okay, so I only have 40 blocks here. Okay, 40 blocks here. You can have more. You don't have to have only 40 blocks. Okay, you can have more blocks. Okay, I only put 40 blocks here. So 40 blocks would be sufficient for a student who is starting later. Okay, like 160 days left. Even if you have 160 days left, right, there's enough for you to do this. Okay, so sorry. So this revision blocks, so I'm just going to cover for econs. What is my suggestion to what you can do for econs? Okay, on the left-hand side, right, you look at the blocks, right? The orange blocks, right, are content understanding blocks. Then the blue blocks, right, are effective practice blocks. Okay, so orange blocks, content. Okay, then the blue blocks, revision. Okay, now, so for econs, right, what am I going to do? So econs, right, we break it down this way. So this is just a suggestion. You do not have to follow this, but it gives you an idea of how you're going to go about planning. So like block 1, right, block 1, you study topic 1 to 3. Then block 2, you study topic 4 to 7. Block 3, 8 to 9. Block 4, 10 to 13. And then block 5, topic 14. So you can see, you can vary a little bit. Like the small, easy topics, you can do a few topics in one day. The difficult topics, it can be one whole topic, right? You cover in one day. Hey, you can set some time that maybe you want to attend some crash courses. Okay, then you can set some time, what I call areas of weakness after practice. Like you reserve this and don't plan anything to revise first until you have done some practices. Because after you've done some practices, you realize that, hey, I'm weak in this area, I better go and revise this area a little bit more. Okay, then you will spend some time, you see, one day, one paper, 2024 paper, do in one day. 23 paper, do in one day. 22 paper, do in one day. At least finish the 10-year series across 10 days. Okay, you set some time for past year prelim papers. Okay, then you set some time to do consults. You set some time to do clarification. You set some time to do consolidation. So you accumulate all your 10 years worth of like questions. Okay, actually I won't do that. Sorry, scratch that. You do 3 papers, for example, then you go and find your teacher for a consult. Do another 3 paper, go to your teacher for a consult. Do another 3 paper, go to your teacher for a consult. And then on your consolidation and clarification, they make sure that you are doing corrections and you improve on your mistakes. Then pass the prelim paper, repeat the same thing. Then you can again attend some crash courses, then revise and review areas of weaknesses. Now, these are things that I will recommend you to do. So you want to be kind of like planning your revision down to granular blocks like this. This is like kind of like what you'll be doing in a single day. This is the kind of revision that you'll be doing in a single day. So you break it down, and then so every day moving forward, then you have something that you're focused on. So you just check off this list. Right. So if you want to make use of this, you can just click File, make a copy. And then you can have a version of your own to go and start working on this. So this is a sample. Okay. So I'm going to go back. All right. Before I go back, so if you think that I've not already done this with my students, you'll be wrong. So we've already done this with our students. So I'll give you a check. I'll show you the checklist. So this is a checklist that I designed for our students at ETG. So like exactly what to do, right? It's really all done up. So this is for J1. J1 is we design 4 mock promo exam, and then we tell them, say, okay, you need to cover these concepts before you sit for your J1 exams. Then for the J2s, we have this content checklist that is for the A levels. Say that, hey, you have to cover all of these content points before you sit for the A levels. So if you've designed some sort of this checklist, then you just plug them in. All right. So let's carry on. Let me just... Okay. So for our ETG students, we actually have a week by week customized revision plan by mid-June. I'm not going to show it to you now. Can you go and find the revision booklet? We should have it somewhere. You remember the one that we give every year? It's a revision booklet. Yeah. So it looks like this. Sorry, I think I need to unshare the screen again to be able to show this. It looks like this. Okay, so there's a kind of a granular week by week breakdown. Okay, so it was granular week by week breakdown of exactly what are the checklists, what are the things to do every week. starting from June. Okay, the consistency is key. It should be a daily effort. You don't have that kind of mindset whereby you like, oh, everything towards the end, right? Then you go and study like crazy, right? Like only exam time come, then you burn midnight oil every day, you study like crazy. No. I think a good way to do it is that every day, right, after school, in a single day, right, you have like at least 4 hours of revision, and you do this throughout consistently across the entire time frame. Then Saturdays and Sundays take some time to rest, but don't be like, oh, the entire day you just rest and do nothing, or just have leisure time. This should be like a mixture. Like you should be like, oh, 2-3 hours rest, leisure time, then 2-3 hours go and study, 2-3 hours leisure time, 2-3 hours study. Okay, then make sure that you're resting well, you're sleeping well. There's a lot of science behind it. You can go and watch podcasts. There are many podcasts that I will recommend. You can private message me. I will send you some podcasts to go and watch. But if you don't sleep well, you don't rest well, right, you're not going to be able to learn well. So make sure that you're resting and sleeping well. Minimally 7 hours of sleep is the bare minimum for you to be able to retain information properly. If not, you can study for 10 hours, and then your memory, right, retention, right, is like someone who is well rested for like 2-3 hours. Then for what? No point. Okay, don't break the routine. Make sure that you don't go a day without studying or sleeping. Okay, because once you lose the routine, right, then it's hard for you to actually jump back. Okay, second point. Sorry, this is third point already. Third strategy is how do you get good? How do you get effective in understanding content? All right, there's actually a wrong way to study, and unfortunately, right, the reason why many students don't do well in exams, right, is that they actually studying wrongly. Right, there's a type of studying which is called armchair learning. What's armchair learning? If I take a book, then I take a highlighter, then and I just read, then I just highlight, read, highlight. This is called armchair learning. This is a very, very unproductive manner of learning. Okay, so I have some questions for you to think about. And number one is that these are questions that you should be reflecting on. Number one is that, do you know what is important to study? If you don't know what is important to study, then you shouldn't start studying it. You should go and figure out what is important to study first. The second thing is that, do you think you should study everything? Okay, can you possibly study everything? Or do you think that there are things that you should focus on first before you study everything? Third is that, do you think all subjects you should go and memorize everything? Can your memory capacity be so huge that you can memorize everything? So what I'm trying to say is that for many subjects, don't memorize, go and understand the concepts. Fourth is, can you apply theoretical concepts if asked in a real world setting, real life setting? Because many of the recent year econs exams, they're asking you theoretical concepts but apply in a real world setting. So if you've been like memorizing, then I ask you to apply a real world setting. It's very hard for you to actually answer the question. Okay. So then the last thing is that while you memorize certain concepts, do you actually know how the concepts will look like, right? If you were tested on this concept in an exam setting. So many of you, like you say that, hey, Mr. Toh, I study very hard. I always pay attention in class. But in the end, the exam result is quite crap. Like I always don't do well for exam. That might be because, right, you think you understand, but you only understand it from a kind of very superficial manner. You don't understand it from an exam point of view. So you could kind of practice questions, right, that test you on those concepts that you have learned. Okay, so make sure you understand your curriculum and then print out your curriculum. If you don't already have your curriculum, back then, right, I had a folder where all my subject curriculum, I've actually put them in a folder and I bring them to school every day. So when I'm learning something, right, I find it very useful, right, for me to always go and look back at the curriculum. What am I learning? Right, is this something that I need to learn? If it's something that I need to learn, which part of the curriculum is it being tested? Do a checklist, create a Google Sheet, and give yourself a grade from A to C based on your understanding level. Like, for example, A means you understand it very well, B means you need recap, C means you don't understand. Then you revise based on this understanding level. Okay, so next, understand what you don't understand. To understand what you don't understand, I'm going to tell you a strategy that I feel that many students will feel that is counterintuitive. Many students feel like, I cannot start doing TYS. And the reason why I can't start doing TYS is because my content is very lousy. So my content is very lousy, so I need to study my content first. Then I can go and do the TYS. I'll tell you, no, do the reverse. If you're a J2 student, not J1 student. If you're a J2 student, do the reverse. If you're a J2 student, right, do TYS question first. Then as you are doing the TYS question, right, you figure out, oh, this topic, market failure, these are the questions that come out. Then after that, but I don't understand this content. Then from that question, then you go and flick through your lecture notes and find, where do I find in the lecture notes that can help me understand the content? So first, look at the questions first. Then you do it before you go and study the areas that you're not good at, which means that you should put your practice blocks first. before you place your content blocks. Okay, so do some practice blocks first, then you put in the content blocks. Okay, so you figure out what you need to learn, okay, by doing, then you will know what you actually don't understand. I know quite a number of top doctors and top lawyers, and the one thing that they have in common is that when they were students, they did very well in their exams, in their school exams, and I will always ask them if I know that they are top doctor and they are top lawyer, and I'll ask them, hey, during your school time, chit chat lah, during your school time, right? How do you revise? They will always tell me the same thing, and the method that they use to revise is the same exact method that I use to revise, which is that we will always first do exam questions first. Then we go and figure out what to study. We don't study first, then we go and do exam questions. Do the reverse. Okay. Then how do you expedite the process of revision? Well, what you need to do is that hey, if you study for 10 hours, right? And out of the 10 hours, right, you spend 7 hours getting stuck. Then actually maybe your effective revision time is not 10 hours. Your effective revision time is only 3 hours. So how do you try to not get stuck? How do you try to not get stuck? There are some free methods, there's some paid methods. Free methods is that, okay, so I'm not saying everybody needs tuition. So by the way, I don't always advocate that everybody should go for tuition for every subject. That's not something that is true. I didn't have tuition as a JC student, primarily because I couldn't afford it as a JC student, right? But as a JC student, so I'm showing you some free methods. Free methods, you must first make good friends. Let me show you good friends are actually good in their studies. So if you make good friends that are good in the studies, right, then you can study with someone who is good at the subject. So for me, I had a friend who was very good in math. So every question that I cannot do, he can solve. So because he can solve, right, so it's kind of like free tutor. But I got to teach him econ stuff. Right. So you can do that. If you don't have someone that can do that with you, then you can attend our classes if you really want to get the A. If you're the kind of student that don't have any of these two things, then you can start first with our crash courses. Okay. The fourth strategy is exposure. Okay, fourth strategy is exposure. So what is the ETG rule of thumb? Hey, I'm gonna ask you all this question. How many essays and case studies have you all done? If you're J2, how many essays or case studies have you all done in the last 1.5 months? It's February now, it's 15 February, it's exactly 1.5 months. How many essays and case studies have you done in the last 6 weeks? How many essays and case studies have you done in the last 6 weeks? Okay. Ask yourself this question. How many essays and case studies have you done in the last 6 weeks? Have you actually done 6 case studies and 6 essays in the last 6 weeks? Because this is an ETG rule of thumb. Okay, when we talk about exposure, if you say that I'm not doing well in econs, but yet in the last 6 weeks you have not done any essay or you only did one, then you can't claim that you have put in your best effort to do well in the subject. The format of testing of econs is essays. You have to do 3 essays and 2 case studies. So that is the format of testing. So if you say that you study, but actually you have not done 6 essays, 6 case studies, 6 essays, 6 case study means that the benchmark is what? The benchmark is that you are doing 1 essay and 1 case study per week. If you do 1 essay, 1 case study per week, right, that will mean that you will do a total of 100 essay questions and 100 case studies over 2 years. If you only choose to do, so if you're a bit lazy, so you only do 1 hour of econ studying every week, that means you only do 1 essay or 1 case study every week. Then you will do 50 essays and 50 case study over 2 years. But my benchmark is always 1 essay and 1 case study, which is 2 hours of revision every week. So you need to spend 2 hours revising for econs every week, and you need to do corrections. Hey, when we say do corrections, right, did you review your answer? And did you find out what is a good answer for those questions that you have attempted? If you have not found a good answer for the questions that you have attempted and you have not reviewed your answer, then it's counted as not having done, because the process of figuring out what's wrong with your answer and what's great about the model answer is how you learn. If you only did the work but without doing corrections, is equivalent to not having done the work, then you might as well don't do. Okay, so if your corrections not done, then you reset the counter to 0. It's counted as that you have done nothing. Okay, now exposure is key because, right, you actually need to know how questions phrasing is going to be like. You need to know, oh, if I see this question is phrased this way, this is how I'm going to answer. This is how I'm going to dissect the question, right? Exposure is also key, right? Because you need to learn how to write answers in the correct format. Right, like some students, you know, if your teachers keep putting there, oh, lacks economic rigor. Okay, next economic rigor means what? You didn't explain the answer in the method teacher wants. You didn't dissect your question well. You didn't put in diagrams. You didn't use an economic theory and an econs theory to answer the question. That is where they say lack economic rigor. But actually, if you read enough model essays and you have been exposed to enough questions, when you see this kind of question, you will know exactly how to write in the correct format. Okay, so you also need to know that at the A-level exams, right, there are going to be curveball questions. There are going to be different permutations and combinations that a topic can be tested. If you have actually done enough A-level papers, you will find that there's nothing that's going to come as a surprise to you. Really, I the last 5 years, right, for the A-level exams, right, I have never been surprised. And I'm going to show you proof. Okay, I don't really have time now, so I'm going to go through very quickly. I'm going to show you proof. This is a separate set of slides that I prepared that I am not even touching today, just because I don't want to spend time marketing and like telling you stuff just to make you join my classes. I'm gonna just go through those very quickly and tell you what's the thing about these slides. There's 23 slides here. I'm just going through very quickly to show you evidence. Okay. And I'm just going to show you a few Google Sheets that we have done. This is the analysis of the exact questions that came out for the A-level exams last year. And this is where did we do this. When we talk about where did we do this, mock exam 1 and mock exam 2 are done 2 weeks before the A-level exams. Essence workshop is done 3 weeks before the A-level exams. Okay, so means to say that what will come out for the A-level exams, right, comes at no surprise to me. I'm never surprised at the exam questions that will come out. If you actually go to Reddit, right, and then you go and read, right, people say, oh, why the question so difficult? Why the SEB trying to kill us, Cambridge trying to kill us, Cambridge being ridiculous, coming out with all these questions. No, it's that you don't know what to expect because you have not actually done enough permutation and combinations of the questions. It's not that the questions are so difficult that you cannot do. Okay, next is that actually exposure is key because one of the things that students tend to fail in is time management. Like if you haven't, okay, so how much time exactly do you have? You have 2 hours 30 minutes to write 3 essays. Each essay, typical students tend to write about 3.5 to 4 pages. So you can write like 4 pages times 3, that's 12 pages. So you write 12 pages in a 2.5 hour time span. It's not that it's not manageable. It's manageable, but you also need to accounting time for planning, time for dissecting questions, time for choosing questions, which means to say that, hey, how often do you actually sit down and spend 2.5 hours writing 3 essays? The answer is almost never. Okay, almost never. Most people don't do that. Most people don't sit down for 2.5 hours and go and write 3 essays. So if you have not actually practiced doing that, then what makes you think that at the A-level exams, you're going to suddenly magically be able to actually, within the time constraint, finish writing the essay in the time span? All right. So you can start now, right? Include in your planning, but make sure that when you are doing your practice blocks, right, your practicing, which is doing the papers, right, is 40% of the work. The other 40%, right, is checking your work. Okay, after you check your work, right, the remaining 20% of the work, right, is to figure out why your answer doesn't work and why your answer works. Which part of your answer can make it? Which part of your answer cannot make it? If you don't spend time doing this, right, then you will not actually count as that you have successfully done the practice. All right. Hey, we have some ETG crash courses. Maybe I'll leave Jieshi to go and talk about this. So I'm going to skip this. I don't want to do marketing parts of the slides. Later at the end, if you find that you happen to be interested in the ETG programs, I'll let Jieshi cover all these things. So Jieshi, you can come back and look at this. Hey, finally, last thing I want to cover today is excellence. How to get A at the A level? What is excellence, right? Now, so but the first 4 steps, right, are just steps to get to a B. The last step, right, is the steps to get to an A. Okay, so I hope all of you all understand that the bell curve, right? If you take math, right, you understand that the bell curve, right, is just what we learn in math statistics called the normal distribution curve. As a econ/math person, right, I understand the normal distribution curve very well. Okay, we did a survey, all right. During COVID period, we did a survey. Sample size above 30. There were 48 people who responded to the survey. This did this survey for fun. Yeah, I asked the students, hey, how effective do you find HBL in school is? Do you realize that this is a bell curve? On the right hand side, this is a bell curve. It's exactly a bell curve. So if you have enough data points and the data points are random enough, then what you're going to find is that everything will fall squarely nicely on the normal distribution curve, or what we call a bell curve. This is the bell curve. Now, there are efforts that you can do. Like for ETG, we actually start. Why our HBL is a little bit better than the school? If you're wondering why, it's because I did this ridiculous thing of starting a tech startup 2 years before COVID. And the part of the tech startup is an edu tech startup, and we were trying to do econs online. And so basically I've been doing Zoom classes 2-3 years before everybody else did Zoom classes. So I'm more well versed and had more practice with Zoom classes than most people have. Right, and so you see the satisfaction level, right, for HBL with ETG, right, is higher. But actually you realize, right, the normal distribution curve is still there, just that you manage to shift it a little bit to the right. But it's still a normal distribution curve. You see, there's still people who are unhappy with us. They still give us a score of 2. Right? There's still people who say your HBL is actually below average. You can't change the normal distribution curve. You can skew it a little bit, you can shift it to the right or shift it to the left a little bit, but at the end of the day, there's still going to be a normal distribution curve. So let me tell you, and then let you think about this. What sets an A student apart from a B or C student? Hey, the B student, right, has motivation. The B student, right, plans. The B student understand content effectively. The B student has exposure. But if you really want to get A, right, actually, only a small fraction of the people will get A. It's not like a large proportion of the population will get A. If you want to be an A student, right, you got to check all of these above boxes, which is everything you've gone through so far, but you go for excellence. Hey, let's talk about excellence in all of these 4 areas that I was talking about just now. Starting with excellence in motivation. So when you are like truly motivated, right, it actually pushes you to deep dive in understanding how concepts are applied in reality. Like for example, right, how do I know an econ student is truly motivated? If the econ student is truly motivated, right, when you're looking at what's happening around the world, right, like if you look at why housing prices is going up, you link it to demand and supply. You look at like how come there's so much inflation in the economy, you link it to there is Federal Reserve changing interest rates, you got the Russia-Ukraine war. So if you're really truly motivated, right, you will like read the news, and then even when you're not attempting a question, you will say that, hey, let me examine based on these econs concepts, how come this is happening? Even when you're not attempting a question. And then why is this helpful? This is helpful because, right, even if the question, right, has not appeared for an exam question before, doesn't mean that it cannot appear as an exam question in the future. If it has not come out as an exam question in the future, right, then it's something that you're discussing with your friends now. You're reading about this news now, and you're thinking actively how to deal with this question now. You're going to have some advantage, right, when the exams actually come out, and you realize that at A-level econs exams, right, many of these questions are applied to real world. Hey, then we talk about excellence in planning. What do we mean by excellence in planning? If you're really serious about planning, right? And you want to achieve excellence, right? You will start today. You will not start planning like 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks. You will not starting 1st April, and you will even have a buffer. So how much buffer did I have as a student? I'm going to tell you exactly what I did 2 weeks before A levels. 2 weeks before A levels, right? What did I do? I went swimming. I held a class barbecue. I went to do everything that is possibly relaxing. Right. What did this help me do? I went to exercise also. What did it help me do? It helped me maintain a very clear mind throughout the entire A-level period. I wasn't stressed at all during the entire A-level period. Right? Because why? I know I've finished everything. And I know that all I need to do was to recap. So like it's not that I'm not studying. I'm studying, but I also make sure that I have time to do all these other things that kept me happy, that kept me in a good shape. And you can only do that if you have a buffer. How do you end up having a buffer if you're not last minute? So planning, right, is comprehensive. You're going to take care of your mental health as well. Like make sure that you're eating well, you're drinking well, you're sleeping well, and you're exercising well, and you have everything that you need to be doing out the exams. And that can only come if you're very well prepared and you have a buffer. Okay. So excellence in content understanding. So when you have excellence in content understanding, right, it is understanding the topic. And when you understand the topic, right, it doesn't mean that you understand the topic this understanding the topic is just in your head. You will make sure that you understand this topic and you are able to translate that in coherent writing. Like, hey, yeah, you say you understand, right? Write this down for me now. Explain it to me in 3 paragraphs. Can you explain in 3 paragraphs? Then if I read your answer, is it like haphazard? Or is that answer is answered, that thing that you've written is done in a way that is in a concise but yet comprehensive fashion? So sometimes we think that our content understanding is very good already. Really? Your content understanding is very good. Can you write it down now? I ask you to explain this concept. Let's say I ask you to explain, you're a H2 student, mutual interdependence, explain using King demand curve in 3 paragraphs plus 1 diagram. Show it to me. Prove it to me that you understand. Are you able to explain to me properly in coherent writing in 3 paragraphs? Is it clear? Are you writing in a way that shows me that you're clear about understanding this topic? So sometimes what we think about content understanding is not what truly is what we call excellence. Right. Lastly, excellence in exposure. How do I have excellence in exposure? Like I said, you don't need to be as extreme like me. I did 2 sets of TYS. You don't need to do 2 sets of TYS. You just need range. Right? The first thing is range. Do 1 set of TYS, 10 years. Then after that, work on. So go by this 10-year series first, because those are actual exam questions that come out. Then after that, do past year prelim questions. Don't need all years. Maybe just do the 2024 ones, 2023 ones, 2 years worth, but from all schools. Then work on all your school tutorials. Go back and revisit all your school tutorials. That gives you range. Then next, you go for depth. All right, make sure that you understand concepts beyond a shallow level, because if you understand concepts only at a shallow level, you won't be able to apply it to the more curveball type of questions. Then this is one thing that I found myself doing. I don't take the, like, if I read a school prelim answers, right? I don't take the school prelim answers to be like, oh yeah, this one is a A grade answer. I will assume that the school prelim answer is a B grade answer. Then I say, hey, if it's a B grade answer, what am I going to do to improve it to an A grade? Is there anything that I can evaluate to make it better? Is there any way that I'll write this, right, to expand the point and make it better? Or is there anything that there's too much information and can make it more concise? So you want to kind of be developing better answers. Like, don't take the model answers to be the best answers. You start with this baseline that everything is a B grade answer, and I'm going to get to the A grade answer, and I want to improve it to A grade answer. What would I do to improve the answer to an A grade answer? So this is what we mean by excellence in exposure. Okay, so this part of the session, I will stop here, because this part here is a little bit more marketing, right, than actually value adding. So, but some of you might be actually interested to know, right, about the ETG Econs program. So I'll leave it to Jeshi. So I'm going to log off here and make Jeshi the co-host, and let her, she's really co-host. I'm going to leave this session here and let Jeshi follow up. I'm going to leave my email address and contact number. If you have any questions after reading, after going through this session, feel free to drop me a message, a WhatsApp message, or you can let me know by email. I'll be happy to address any questions that you have relating to what we have covered in today's session. Okay, so for those of you, if you are watching this video from home, right, there are other resources available on our website tuitiongs.com, or our Telegram t.me/edgecons, or on our YouTube. Okay, so I'll pause here, and if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, through WhatsApp and email. So Jisha, are you there? If you're there, you can take over.
Okay, so I'll be continuing from where Mr. Toh left off, which is with regards to the ETG program. Okay, so let me find the slide. Okay, yeah, so with regards to ETG, right? So we have been here since 2007. So we have been running the JC program for this year will be our 18th year. And yeah, so for the class of 2023, right? So this is the results that we have. So we have for a regular school, usually the A rate is around 30 to 50%. Then for our A rate that we have here, because of the cohort size, yeah, so it's 71.4% for A and 23.8, which is B, then C and below is 4.8%. So this is class of 2023. So in next week, next week the J3s, they will be getting their results. So we'll be updating the class of 2024 soon. Yeah. Then yeah, so basically for the A-level result for GP, we have half 50% A and 50% B. Yeah, so it's 100% A B grade for our GP classes. So the GP classes is actually done under a separate branch of ETG, which is under Supernova GP program. So if you're keen, you can also drop us in a text, then yeah, you can know more about it. Then tutors wise, so tutors, right, we have so for Mr. Toh himself, he has two master's degrees. So the curriculum is mainly set up by him. So so curriculum materials are everything set up by him. So the only difference is that for the different classes, the tutors are taught will be different. So their teaching styles may be different. So it may be like a bit more interesting, enthusiastic, or some may be a bit more strict, and yeah. So it's just different teaching styles. So we are here since 2007, and we have a few different branches. So if you're looking at classes at different branches, there will be classes at like Coronation Plaza, Hwa Chong, NJ, CJ, nearby here. Then after that, we have also classes at Upper Thomson and also Punggol. And we are starting a new Pasir Ris branch, so that will be available soon. And our tutors, all of them, they are econs graduates, and we have most of them from Oxybridge graduates, and we have also former NUS tutors, and we also have a previous banker from investment banker, and we also have a ex Hwa Chong and ex RI tutors as well. Yeah. Okay, so resources wise, right? So for our students, right, they get exclusive in-house materials. So this include guidebooks. I think Mr. Toh showed a couple of it earlier on. So there are guidebooks. So we have our micro and macro express, and also we have also this helpful essay series. So this series you can get it from outside, but for the guidebooks here, right, is exclusive lah. So it's only for our internal students. So the guidebooks are available. So this is the newest one. This yellow one's the newest one. Then after that, previously we have it with Shingli. So we have the helpful essay series. So this year, the new edition of macro will be out soon. Yeah. So after that, this is the revision plan that we have for our students. So Mr. Toh, I think he showed the tiny book earlier on. So basically, it's a week-on-week revision plan. So if you're someone that you don't know how to structure a revision and things like that, yeah, so we have a plan for you to help you structure a revision all the way for J1 all the way to promos, and for J2 is all the way to your A levels. So it's a week-on-week plan whereby you have a task to be completed. Then after you submit a task online for grading, and our tutoring team will provide you with a feedback on your work, and from there you can improve from there. So it's like a graded feedback kind of thing throughout your whole journey. And you also receive guidebooks like diagrams book, summary book. So these are the more of the bite-sized materials for you to bring it along the way, like you are just like commuting or things like that, then you can take a look through. So anything that you want to like revise on, you can just have a quick look on it now. Yeah. And we also have TYS answer. So as he said, so he is also a TY, Mr. Toh is a TYS answer author. So he's one of the two in Singapore. So these are the guidebooks that the comprehensive answers that we have published with SAP. So this is this. And yeah, I think he showed the textbook. So this is like a clearer version of it lah. So volume 1 to 4 is for our J1 students, so term 1 to term 4. And volume 5 to 8 will be for the J2 students, covering from term 1 to term 4 respectively. Yeah, so this is for the materials wise. And support. So in terms of the support, right, so for our classes, we are quite flexible. So let's say if you're on-site student, but on a certain day that, you say that, I'm tired from school and things like that, and I have something on right after, so I would need to attend via Zoom. Definitely, that's all flexible. So you can choose to attend on site or via Zoom. And even if there's something that, like you didn't catch certain thing in class, you can always fall back on the recorded lesson. So all our lessons are being recorded. So you can always fall back on the recordings that is available. And if there's anything that you have unclear or you want to revise again, you can always watch a recording again. So it's not like a one-off thing, but instead that you can always fall back on the recording to recap and to revise certain parts. And we also have consults. So the consults can be either via WhatsApp. So all our students, they will have Mr. Toh's WhatsApp number. So if any point in time you have any questions, you can just drop him a text and let him know, I have a certain question on this and that. If it's shorter questions, usually we are okay with via WhatsApp. If it's longer question, it'll be easier for you to book a consult, and consults are complimentary for our students. So that will help you to clarify your doubts with Mr. Toh. And homework program. So yeah, the homework program I showed you using the revision booklet earlier. So a week on week homework program whereby you get your work graded instead of just purely practicing without any feedback. So you know what is going on with your work and where are the areas of for improvement. And yeah, so we keep our students our priority. So if there's anything that you need help, we will try to extend as much help as possible.